welcome to this edition of the Rabbit Show. Here today we're with Shannon Obringer at the 98th ARBA convention in Louisville, Kentucky. And Shannon, you're from Ohio. This year you won Best Opposite Sex with the New Zealand, and it was a broken senior doe?
Broken senior doe, yep.
And so we just wanted to have a discussion about how you designed her, how you thought about breeding her and making her, and then find out a little more about you and your rabbitry. So how long have you been raising rabbits, and how long have you been raising New Zealands?
I have had New Zealands since I was 9, so about 28 years. Started out with whites. I got the Brokens in 14, and they have truly become my passion, what I really want to work on. I still have whites, but the main focus now is the Brokens.
And so you got Brokens very early on in the process of when Brokens were accepted. So what was it like early on with Brokens?
It's very hard. It was very hard to be accepted in the New Zealands with a new color, but at the same time it was also hard getting a Broken that was of the same quality of a good white. That is what you want, that is what we were working on. So I think showing them at first was hard, frustrating, but it was something that I knew I really wanted to keep doing. So I just kept breeding and calling hard to get to this point.
And so when you say that it was difficult at first, the genetic pool just wasn't there, and it was difficult to accept varieties that weren't white, or what do you mean?
Well, I think for me it was, you breed and you might get one Broken. It's not like you breed a litter of whites and you get 7 whites to choose from. You might have 7 Brokens, and some might be black, some might be Charlies, some are Agoutis. You don't always get the Broken. I ended up talking to a lot of different, well, not a lot, there wasn't very many, but a few different Broken breeders, and it was, I was breeding, trying to get black to Broken to get this pattern, to get this clean Broken, and here to find out that is not what you should have been doing, and I really didn't know that at first. So I think getting there is what took so long to get what I am now. I breed Broken to Broken truly all the time now. I have a few blacks, but her parents are Broken to Broken, and I get pretty much all Brokens. I might get one black out of the litter. I don't get any Charlies anymore.
Really?
So I think that was the hard point, just getting there and getting actually numbers to show. Like I said, you would get a litter of 7 and maybe have one. And is that a good rabbit, that one,
So, no, and I think that it is tough to progress inside of a variety that's brand new, and there's just not that much of a gene pool out there. So what was the name of this rabbit?
This rabbit's name is Barbie.
How did she get that name?
Well, we name all of the rabbits, and they are named. Pieces of their parents are put into a name, and that is how we keep track of them. So her mom is Babe and her dad is Racer. So my mom named her Barbie when she was a weaned away. She was the only doe of the litter. It was only a litter of 4, and it was all Brokens. They all look like this. I have all 4 of them yet. In fact, her brother is here, and the 2 other ones are still at home. So they've all done very well, all 4 of them. So
well, and she's a doe that, I got my hands on her yesterday. She's so incredibly deep, and then she's just so wide and powerful all the way throughout, and she has, just beautiful finish to her coat. She's absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you.
So what made her stand out when she was young to want to get that name, and how did she develop?
The name just, mom just let's just name her Barbie. It's Babe and Racer. Okay, fine. So that really just fit as she grew older. Honestly, any Broken that has a good pattern, that is a doe. I tend to keep and hold on a little longer. This litter in particular, I absolutely loved all of them, even though there were 3 bucks. I generally don't keep 3 bucks, but I held on to every single one of them. It takes a longer, I feel, with the Brokens, is seeing them mature. That is kind of a problem. If you want it to be, say that's a problem, you have to hold on to the Brokens a little bit longer.
You're saying that this, the line of Brokens takes a little longer to develop?
To develop, yeah. She actually didn't even go on the show table. She is about 10 months old. Her first show was in August. She wasn't where she needed to be until then.
So they get more muscling, or what are you saying that they get over time?
Muscling, the development of the Brokens, I feel, muscle-wise, is a little slower than the whites. That is something that took me a longer to figure out. I mean, you have to have more cage space if you want to show Brokens. That's just what I've found. Whites, it's funny, you can pretty well tell, at the 5 pound, 6 pound mark, I want to keep this. I want to keep this. But Brokens, you have to sit on them a little longer. And if you don't really want to do that, some people don't. But yeah, so I sit on a lot of Brokens. I don't look at them from about 7 to 9 pounds. I just kind of let them. If they pass my test at 5, 6 pounds, I put them in a cage and let them go. I show some juniors, not a lot. Generally, they are older.
So over time though, you've learned that that's the way your line develops, and that it's important to know that to be able to have success. Because later on, because if you make that choice when they're in their development stage and they're not growing the right way, you may not even have a chance to get
right.
there.
If I would have, and that's early on, from my white background, I didn't like them at 5 pounds or 6 pounds. I was getting rid of them. So early on, I could have been doing much better had I known, hey, maybe I need to sit on these just a little bit longer to see what's going to happen. And every time you throw a different buck in or a different doe in, you're going to have something different about it. And you don't know that until, you keep them longer or breed more with that buck and see how they are really maturing. So
that leads me to my next question. So on Barbie specifically, so you had Racer, and what was his mom's name again? Babe. Okay, so what when you were developing this rabbit specifically, what were you hoping to get? I mean, did those parents have awesome traits? And then I want to take it back a step farther to when you started into Brokens. But so initially.
So her parents in particular, her father is massive. He never got to show. He was a 2020 rabbit, and she was too, her mom. So we had them, Jolene and I had them, and we never showed them. We both liked them, but never got them on a table. But I said, you know what, I'm just going to take that opportunity then, and I'm just going to breed these two together and see what happens. I feel like her dad is powerful and big, and he was probably overweight. The mom has more type. She's also very big. She's probably 10 and a half, maybe closer to 11. She's had a few litters, so don't know really what she is now, but just breeding those two together and, hey, let's see what we get with this big buck. And because I felt like in my Brokens, that's what I was missing. So obviously it worked, because like I said, that was her second litter, but she had 4, and I have all 4 of them. So
that's the reality. Is if you get something that clicks and works out good,
there's 5 more at home that I just weaned.
So I know we had talked a little bit earlier as well about the early on stages of Brokens, but what were the defining characteristics that you were wanting to have to make Brokens be successful and lead to this moment of you winning Best Opposite?
Well, first of all, you don't want the Brokens to be different. My background came from whites, and I still do have whites, but you want your a New Zealand is a New Zealand no matter what color it is. You want that type. You want what you have with your white, you want to have with whatever color you have. So Broken. So that's what I was striving for. It took a long time. I mean, we called hard, called early, made mistakes, kept breeding, just to get, where the whites are. Can this rabbit, ultimately that's what I was thinking, can this rabbit compete against a white? In my mind, that's where I would always think. Can it win its variety, and can it potentially go up against a white and win? So
Yeah, which makes sense. So what do you feel as a New Zealand breeder then? Like, what do you feel are the most important traits to be successful at the top kind of competition like this? What makes a great New Zealand?
the type, the muscle, the overall finish. I mean, it's a commercial rabbit. You want this, you want this back half of this rabbit to be as hard and smooth as possible. But also with a broken, you want the coloring. But ultimately you want the type and the meat, the firm feel of them.
Very good. Yeah, one of the things I definitely love about her is just how deep and how pretty her top line is when you view her from the side, and visually when you go over the top of her, like you said, that she's just wide and muscular all the way throughout. Good deal. That's all the questions that I can think of at the moment.
Okay.
So I appreciate you taking the opportunity and coming over here. It's great learning from breeders like you to help other people that are interested in wanting to do better themselves. So,
yep.
and that's a huge hurdle to get to this kind of success. I mean, for the breed in total, as well as doing it in a variety, that's tougher to put all those genetics together. So I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
So,
thank you.